So,
to God.
When we're looking at spirituality, we're looking at spiritual well-being, but also we're looking at spiritual experience itself. So I'll make an example. We're looking at some of the participants, they did not believe in God or ancestors or any spiritual well-being before the incarceration. Then when they were incarcerated, they formed some kind of groups within the corrections, and then there were churches there. So they started to attend because they needed some kind of spiritual support. So spirituality in this instant would mean them doing spiritual activities, rituals, being in touch also with their spiritual well-being, doing practices as I mentioned, so going to church, ancestral stuff. So it related to ancestral, it related to God. But also there is another concept that some of them, they are atheists. They don't believe in the existence of God. But before they were incarcerated, they used to believe. So there's this thing of resentment and anger of saying, if God was there, He would not have allowed me to go into prison. So of course there are a lot of issues in terms of why they decided not to believe. Did I answer your question? Okay.
Also, I came in a bit late, so I'm not sure if you maybe covered this in your presentation, but I'm still not understanding what exactly you mean by spirituality. And because, well, partly you are using the word spirituality to explain spirituality, so it doesn't help me get a different understanding of it. And then with that, I assume that, well, most of your participants you spoke to were Christian.
No.
Or not.
Yes.
Or that's just the feeling I'm getting from the way you talk about your participants and the way they talk about God and Bible and stuff like that.
These are some of the things that
Can I answer this?
I'll answer, it's fine. But it's okay. These are some of the things that I shared with you. There are people who participated in the study and they don't believe. They are atheists. But we cannot divorce atheism from spirituality, because the concept of spirituality does not relate only to religion. Does it make sense? You wanted to add? Yes. So, did I answer your question? So, what I shared with you here was some parts, because we are in the preliminary results phase. So this is not a holistic approach. So those two quotations don't really capture the bigger picture, but they capture some aspects of what the study is all about.
Martin? Something that interests me about this is that the way I imagine religion or spirituality or whatever typically happens in prison is through formal attendance of church events, or maybe visits by pastors, and then thirdly, the individual religious practices, people reading the Bible or whatever. Whereas this seems to be something a little different. These are people who are not attending a religious service or something, not engaging in religious rituals, but they coming together and talking to others who are interested in spirituality, almost like on a meta level. Or am I getting it? There is like a group of people behind this. It's not you just interviewing separately. Okay, who's going?
If I can answer to that. Firstly, it's a misconception that our participants are Christians only. Our participants have not yet formed a group. But because we are still on the level of data collection, the people that we have interviewed, our participants, are now starting to form a group. But now you need to understand that when you go to a prison setting, you find different kinds of religion and denominations. Like as Harold has correctly pointed out, you find Rastafarians in prison. You find ZCCs in place. Those are all different denominations. So as a group, we are trying to bring them together. Although we know that they come with different experiences, they come with different beliefs, but then we're trying to form some kind of, not a support group, but it's a discussion group where they can learn from each other of their religions. So they haven't as yet, if I may answer the question, they haven't as yet formed the group. After our data collection, after we have interviewed the 20 participants, it is then that they are going to form a group. It is a discussion group, not a support group as the one that was presented by Dumeling. You see, at Inside Out, we are obsessed about sustainability. If I may just give you a little bit of a background. You see, with the Fatherhood Project, the Fatherhood Project emanated from the master students paying a visit at Sonal Vita. We have a discussion with the fathers, with the offenders, after which we ask them, what is it that you'd like us to research, or what is it that you'd like to be researched? And then they come up with all sorts of different ideas. And then one of our students by the name of Molebile Musemane Khosi took up on that idea, and then he conducted a study on the fatherhood on an imprisoned. The same thing with the spirituality project. It is a theme that came out from one of our master's students, and then we took up on that theme, and then we explored it further, and then it resulted on this project. So we are trying to sustain the project by involving the fathers from the Fatherhood Project, as well as the inmates who are religious or spiritual. What we do not want to do is to differentiate between the forms of religiosity and the forms of spirituality. If you feel that you are spiritual but you are not religious, we need to respect that. And it's true for the opposite person. If the opposite person feels that they are more religious than spiritual, so be it. We are not there to dictate what needs to be done. So I hope I am.
And that's just to add on that, there are actually participants who actually told us that they are not religious. They don't belong to any classified or packaged religion. They would like to be referred as spiritual people. So that's I think perhaps that's where the confusion comes in. So hence we're using more of the word spiritual than religious.
You'll be the last one. Any more other questions? So you'll be the last one. Our time is exactly 1 o'clock.
So my question is on, you're saying you try to bring together these diverse group of people that have different ideas of spirituality, which among them, of course, even though you avoid the relationship between spirituality and religious, but I think it's clearly linking. And if then you bring them together, right? So you bring together someone who's having a different idea of spirituality as maybe Sangoma, a Christian, someone else, right? Different groups of people, and you bring them together. And we know that these different groups, they have different power dynamics, and some of them, they're more powerful than the others. So how do you consider that kind of relationship that might also actually spoil someone else's idea of spirituality?
Okay, for that we have been assigned a person who is going to look over that group. So in the chapter there's someone who is responsible for that. So that person is going to facilitate the groups. So for instance, with the Fatherhood Project, they meet each and every Tuesday. So when there is a facilitator facilitating the group, obviously you have to know the dynamics of a group. That if one participant say participates more than the other, they tend to overwhelm the group. So those dynamics need to be there. We are aware of the differences that we're bringing together, but it doesn't mean that if they are not common or if they don't believe on the same point that they can't be together. So it's all about exploration. We also are interested in knowing or finding out what is going to happen at the end. We don't have the answers yet because the group has not yet been established, but it's something that we are looking into. So any questions, concerns, it is something that we are gladly and healthily will accept so that we can take it into the portfolio.
Yeah. You're welcome to talk to us.
If there are not going to be any more questions, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to end the session. Thank you for participating. But after lunch, we are also going to continue from this venue. We have 2 roundtable discussions immediately after lunch. One on ethics, if you're interested. on conducting research in spirituality, as well as a roundtable discussion on NGOs during our interactions. Thank you. Let's see your challenge.